We have breaking news. Descent into chaos is happening right now in Venezuela. If you haven't heard, we need to tell you the economy is crumbling. Protesters taking to the streets, calling for President Nicolas Maduro to be removed from office. Now, this usually wouldn't be a place where one would look at it and say, I'm piling my investment dollars in here. But we've been asking major money, major investors, and I got opposing views from some of the most watched investors, Wilbur Ross and Mark Mobius. How do they feel about investing in Venezuela? Listen. Would Venezuela ever look interesting to you?
Sure. There's no inherent reason why Venezuela shouldn't be a very successful country. It just needs a change in management, a very radical change in management.
So if you saw a new government go in, you'd consider checking out investments?
Oh, absolutely.
Probably avoid Venezuela. You know, that's pretty much of a basket case at this stage. But their time will come.
Well, a basket case versus sure, why not? But the government has to change. Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive, somebody who really understands Venezuela. He's been on the ground there for years. In a Fox Business exclusive, we have former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela, Patrick Duddy. Well, Ambassador, does any of this surprise you, what's happening on the ground in Venezuela right now?
No. The economic model that President Chavez sought to impose, in which, to a very large degree, President Maduro has supported since his election in 2013, essentially is a flawed one. It has devastated the private sector. Now, for a long time, record high oil prices essentially masked the weaknesses in the system, but the precipitous decline in oil prices over the last year have revealed its flaws. But some of these flaws were evident a long time ago.
How close are we to a tipping point here into complete chaos? We have crisis, we have violence, we have descending into this, but how close are we to a point where somebody storms the presidential buildings? Something's got to happen. Something's got to give.
Well, it's clearly a very alarming spectacle. Venezuela is verging on failed state status. The currency has collapsed. There's economic chaos. The government has actually reduced the work week for public employees to 2 days a week in a desperate effort to try and save power. But it's not clear yet just when or if the situation will hit ground zero.
Well, people can't eat.
The opposition is trying to recall the president.
Sure. I mean, people can't eat. We did a little bit of research here. A Happy Meal, if they can get it, is more than $140. That's how much it costs. They don't have the basic staples. They can't drink their morning café con leche. At what point does hunger push people to do some pretty serious things?
Well, it's unraveling before our eyes as we speak. And there have been a couple of indications within the last week which would suggest that, at least economically, things are going to get worse before they get better. Oil services companies like Halliburton and Schlumberger, critical to their oil industry, have announced that they are reducing their activities in Venezuela. Bridgestone, which has been there for 60 years, has announced they're selling their business. Coca-Cola is not producing soft drinks because they can't get sugar. Even the national beer producer has suspended production because they can't get the hard currency to purchase barley.
Could we see a coup? Are these police officers we're seeing in the video, are they getting paid? Is it a possibility that eventually there's perhaps a military or police coup?
Well, certainly there's been speculation on some sort of takeover from within the Chavista movement. Now, it's important to understand that the government has a monopoly on force, so it's not going to come from the opposition. The question is, how do the armed forces, the police and others understand their equities in the current crisis? And the current crisis is more severe than anything we've ever seen in Venezuela, at least in the last 30 years.
And you would know, having been there. Thank you so much. Something tells me we're going to have you speaking with us again if anything descends even further. But at this moment, you're saying that Venezuela is unraveling before our eyes. Ambassador Duddy, thank you so much for joining us.
It is.